This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Coming up in tonight's show. Many people spend their whole lives following the crowd and accepting whatever they have simply because nobody told them that there is something different. Is there more to life? Find out on tonight's show.
Hello and welcome to the very first show of 2018, Finances. And we are so happy to be here broadcasting this show to talk about life, hope, faith, joy, life transformation. This is what this show is all about. If you stay tuned with us until the very end of this show, you are going to watch life transformation stories. You will also hear words that will uplift your spirit. And we are here to tell you there is a way out. There is a definite solution for your problem. No matter how big your problem might be, God is bigger than your problem. And today, we are going to talk about addiction and people who always follow the crowd. Now, people who keep following the crowd and they are always getting into trouble, they simply do it because they don't know anything else other than following the crowd. A lot of people have chosen to take a wrong turn in their lives, not because they are bad people, but simply because they don't know any better. That's all they've known. That's the world they got to know. Well, but what if I told you that there is more to life? What if I told you that life is a lot more than what it seems to be? Pastor Neil, it's a pleasure to have you here once again on Finances.
It's my pleasure being here.
Pastor Neil, this topic is really nice because we are talking about a new life, and there is more to life than what people actually get to know so far.
Exactly. It's like, for example, let's say I live in Wood Green, and I would say, no, Wood Green is the best.
It's my world.
Yes. But there in Birmingham, let's say it's better. But I never experienced Birmingham before. But I only can talk about Wood Green. For me, is the best. For me, is my everything. And this is what many people, they have been suffering with. For example, so this person start drinking, start to be addicted. He doesn't know that there's a life of peace. Because when I'm addicted, I don't have peace. I might even say, no, I feel good, I feel high, but there is a better life. Do you want this better life? Very soon you are going to find out how you get this better life.
Yeah, this better life that you're talking about, it's the hidden treasure, right? It's a hidden treasure that the explorer has been searching, digging, and spending years of dedication to finally find where the hidden treasure is. And we have the hidden treasure. Stay tuned. We are going to watch now to this testimony of this person who finally found the hidden treasure. Let's watch.
I grew up with a lot of internal issues because I used to see my dad abusing my mum. It was a very difficult thing for me to see at such a young age. It affected me deeply. I grew up with low self-esteem, and I used to look for ways to fill that void that I had inside of me through being with the wrong kinds of people. I didn't know how to say no. I felt like I didn't know who I was, and I had a lot of anger towards my dad for what he had done. So I refused to see him, I refused to speak to him, and I felt very empty inside. I really searched for ways to try and to fill this emptiness, but nothing worked. I felt unsatisfied. The worst moment was when I almost ended up getting into a situation where I almost lost my virginity, but not because I liked being with the person, but because I didn't know how to say no, because I didn't have any control over myself. I felt like I was just led by people. So when I got into that situation, it really scared me, because I thought, what more can happen if I have no control over myself? I don't know how to say no to people. I was a people pleaser. It was when I decided that I'd had enough, when I got to a point where I'd literally had enough of being the way that I was. I'd had enough of feeling down and empty and sad. I'd had enough of being led by people and not having control over myself. And it was when I developed my faith in God and the steps that I was taught, and I learned to grow, to know myself, to know who I was. It was then that I took those steps to change, and I did an 180-degree turn on like the people who were bad influence on me. I said no to the way that I was. I determined that I would be a new person, I would be a different person, and I took steps towards that. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it, and I'm really happy with the person that I am today. I'm completely different. That void that I had, it's been filled, and I'm so much more happy. I forgave my dad. We rebuilt our relationship. My family is complete, even though I came from a broken home, but I don't feel like I came from a broken home. I'm now happily married. I surround myself with people who are like-minded, so I know where I'm going, I'm focused, and I'm happy with life.
Welcome back to Finances. If you want to talk to us, if you want to talk to me, to Pastor Neil, you want to get things off your chest, well, our ears are all yours. We are more than happy to listen to you and give you a practical, solid, and life-changing advice. You can give us a call. The number is 020-7686-6300. I will repeat it again. 020-7686-6300. Alternatively, you can send an email to help@finances.tv. help@finances.tv. And in case you want to watch a previous episode of this show, you can go to our YouTube channel. You can go to the search bar, type there Finances, and there you'll be able to find our channel, subscribe to it if you like, and there you will be able to watch all the previous shows ever recorded in full HD quality. We are talking about addiction. And we are also talking about people who are living a life of sorrows, a life of sadness, a life of addiction. And in their head, they think this is the best life can offer. And all this happens simply because they don't know that life has more to offer. They still did not find the hidden treasure. Pastor Neil, when we find this hidden treasure,
Life change.
completely.
For sure.
And the change that happens, the change that occurs, is mainly the internal change.
Yeah.
The inner man. Because when the inner man, when the inner woman, when they do change, things around you will eventually change.
For sure. Because, as you said, the person that is addicted, for example, you that you are watching right now, maybe when you work, all you do, you drink, you smoke, and that's where your money goes. And for you, after you finish drinking, finish smoking, you even said to your friends, I have a good time. This is the best time of my life. But on the other hand, all those money could buy a house, could start a family. So for you, the world of addiction and drinking, for you, you said is the best because you have not yet find the hidden treasure, the life that is there. And that's what happened, Pastor Douglas. The person that when he or she finds that hidden treasure, that life, that different life, then the mentality of the person change. For example, many years ago, my life was this. I work, I go to clubbings, and I sleep around, I drink, wake up the following day, work, take the money, buy the most expensive clothes. That was my life. For me, it was good. But when I found the hidden treasure, when I found faith, then I start to think, I was stupid. This life was not a good life. For me, it was the best. For me, I thought that I was very happy. And this is what many people they are facing today.
Because you finally found the hidden treasure.
For sure.
Dear viewer, we are not here attacking or criticizing you who are hooked on alcohol, drugs, pornography, gambling, you name it. No, actually, we are on your side. We are here to support you, to tell you that there is a way out. But what we are trying to say, the message that we are trying to deliver is that you have done these things because you still do not know this hidden treasure. You still did not taste nor experience this constant 24-hour inner peace we are talking about. We are going to go to a short break. After the break, we are going to watch the story of our tonight's guest. His name is Tayo, a 21-year-old young man, very successful today, but his life has not always been sweet. Actually, Tayo's life was very bitter and destroyed by addiction. Let's go to a break. WhatsApp your friends, text them, let them know about Tayo's story. This is Finances.
I'm exploring central Germany, and there is so much to see. That's really good.
Watch Check-In on MyTV. A talk show where women discuss various topics and have fun at the same time.
Oh, really?
Watch A Different Kind of Woman on MyTV.
Climate change. Waste. Isn't it time for good news? Eco at Africa. People and projects that are changing our environment for the better.
Eco at Africa. Learn how we can make a difference on MyTV. Watch Focus on Europe on MyTV.
The Global Citizen Festival is a place to see some top music stars, smartphone crazy countries, digital consumer rights.
Consumer advice centers are calling for better consumer safety online.
Watch Shift on MyTV.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back to Finances. And our tonight's guest is Tayo. This 21-year-old man young men, successful men, but life has not always been sweet. Is that right?
Yeah, that's completely right.
So tell us, Tayo, what is your story?
Okay, so it started from a really young age, actually. I remember when I used to live in Nigeria, because I didn't grow up in this country. I was born in Nigeria. And back then, we used to like go out a lot, and we used to play. We used to, because we were young, we used to like be curious on many different things. And I remember there was this like one girl that I used to like hang around with, and we used to do a lot of things together because we were close. Because I lived in a place where a lot of children were. But I remember there was this one particular girl that I was with one time, and I was in the back of like the back bit of the house that we lived in, and we were doing some really like funny things in terms of sexual acts. We were committing this. We were innocent, but we just thought we were experimenting in this way. So this is how my life sort of like started. Of course, back then I didn't really know what I was doing, but then it led further when I came like into this country. And when I was in school, when I started primary school, and I saw like friends of mine watching pornography, and they were saying things like, "Oh, it's cool." So I thought, okay, wow, that's cool. But the thing is, it's funny because at first, when all this was introduced to me, because I was used to it from a young age, it wasn't really something that moved me until like when friends of mine started to speak more about it, digging more. So that made me sort of like want to move on to the next level with like pornography, and then that's when I actually decided to go watch on my own, and then it started from there really, and then I started to do it like every now and then. So this is how my life was, and I also like developed other addictions like gambling when I started to work. I got my first job when I was 16, and what happened was because like when you first work and you get your first paycheck, you're excited. You go out, you buy a lot of clothes, you buy a lot of things that you couldn't get before, and you do this, and you're introduced to that money life. And when I got introduced to that, I wanted more. And some of my friends used to go to gambling. They used to go to the betting shops. They used to bet on like football and things like that. And one day, I walked in with them. I went to the betting shop with them, and I saw them winning money. So this like caught my attention. I was thinking, oh wow, if they're winning money, so I can win money as well. So that sort of like made me start gambling. And so when I got involved with it, the more, like there'll be times when I get paid and I'll literally go to the betting shop straight away to use all my like salary on betting, and this really like hurt me. It wasn't nice. It wasn't good. And there was something else that actually my friend used to do, because with me it was a lot of influence from others that started a lot of things I did, and this was actually the main one. I'm leaving it for last because at first it was actually my twin, because I'm a twin. My twin came on one day. He was like, I smoked weed today, and I felt like I was this, in a game. He said he felt like he was in a game. And when he said this, I thought, wow, like this guy said he thought it was appealing to me. I wanted to try. And the first time I actually tried it as well was when I was in college. It was around the time when I started to work. And it was a friend of mine. He was curious as well. So we decided to go and like pick up, because we decided to go to get some weed, to get some marijuana. And then when I actually tried it at first, I was dying. Like when I first smoked, when I put it in my mouth, I was dying. I was cussing it and everything. I was saying to myself, like, why do people do this, man? They're killing themselves and they make it look so cool. Like, what's happening? Like, why did I even do this? And then this was my initial reaction. But then later on, when I started college, and when like you know, when you start college and you meet new people, like you meet new friends, you're there, you're prepared to like meet, to start a whole nother 2-3 years, because you're starting a course. And the first conversations that I heard from like people that I can actually relate with, because not everyone you relate with when you go start something like this, they were talking about smoking. They were saying that they smoked before, blah blah blah. And then I was like, because I was one of them guys. I was like, oh, I want to be cool too. So I said, oh, I smoked before too. Like I've completely forgot about the first thing I said when I said it wasn't good. And then they had some weed on them that day. And then what happened was, we went to the back of the college, and then they rolled their thing up, and then that's when I sort of like start to see the highness of it, to start to sort of enjoy it. It wasn't like the first experience, and then that's where like it all started really. And this was my life. This was my life, and the more I continued to do these things, the deeper my issues were within. The deeper I was more like reserved for myself, and like I didn't care about a lot of things, and I even started to steal. I was stole many things from shops, to the point that my mum even caught me one time when I was stealing, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, and because I come from an African background, and in the African household, if your parents was to see you do something like that, it's like you committed like a great sin. So when it happened, it's sort of like when she saw, like it's almost like when she saw that I was this sort of boy, and she saw that this was really who I was, it sort of gave me like freedom, because now my mum knows. You know what I'm saying? I can't hide anything. And then basically that's where my life, that's how my life was. That's how my life was.
How drastic did it affect your behavior? Because normally those who smoke, they drink, there's a behavior, get angry. How was it for you?
With me, it wasn't like I was angry, but it was more of a sense of I didn't care about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I would, like when my mum wasn't at home, when my parents wasn't at home, I would, in front of my little brothers, I would literally like roll it in front of them for them to see that, yes, this was your brother.
So you reach a point you don't care.
Yeah.
Because that was your world.
Yeah, and I would also like tell people that if they didn't smoke, they're missing out. Like, mm-hmm. I was arrogant. It made
in
me...
school, how did it affect school-wise?
It affected me big time, because the more that I got, because I started in college. Mm-hmm. In the first year, it wasn't that bad, because it was like, okay, I was more of a social smoker. But then when it got to the second year, when I started to like smoke on my own, like when I got highly involved, like the first thing I would do when I wake up is I would think about smoking. So that would let me not, I won't focus in class. I wouldn't focus. Like, I would literally leave class sometimes to go and smoke. And concerning to towards the end, when it was like the point that really mattered in school in terms of my coursework, like because I used to work some night shift jobs, and then instead of me going to class, to the lessons the next day, I would go to like the houses, like where the drug dealers used to sort of like distribute.
Mm-hmm. You see, Pastor Douglas, from one thing leads to another. But what really called my attention was that he was in a world, and maybe this is exactly what is happening to you that you are watching now. Maybe you said, I don't agree with what you are saying, because I smoke, I'm living the same life as Taiwo. And this is the way I'm going to live, this is the way I'm going to be. No one can change me. No, we don't want to force change in you. What you are saying is there's another life, more better than this previous one he had. Soon you'll see the life he had now. Because sometimes the person will say, but they want to force me to change. No, but there's another life. He was in a world, as he said, he used to tell to people, if you don't smoke, you are missing out on everything.
You mentioned that you got hooked on sleeping around, pornography, smoking cannabis, as well as gambling. Okay, after you have done all these, after you have done all these activities, when you'd go to your bed and shut the door of your room, when nobody was there with you, how would that feel?
In terms of that, the more that I developed the addiction, especially of smoking, I would want to smoke before I sleep. I would completely depend on it. But when I was alone, when I didn't have nothing, it was as if I was just alone. There was no one with me, in the world. I was depressed, in other words. So I wasn't the sort of person that I could express myself well, because I was so reserved. But I wouldn't...
unless you smoked.
Yeah. So it was like my life completely depended on this element. Because, yeah.
That means, you know, in these moments of loneliness where you were all by yourself, that's when you had to face your reality, right? You had to face your sad reality and see how unhappy, how bitter, how empty your life was. Dear viewer, I'm sure that you who are watching this program now might have related to something that this young man has said. Or perhaps you know somebody whose life is exactly what this young man's previous life used to be. If that's the case, we will go to a break now. Seize the opportunity. Call this friend. Tell them to tune in. Because he's going now to disclose to all of us what he's done that caused a change in his behavior. You can save a life. Not only your own life, but the life of a friend. Stay tuned. This is Finances.
The Global Citizen Festival is a place to see some top music stars, smartphone crazy countries, digital consumer rights.
Consumer advice centers are calling for better consumer safety online.
Watch Shift on MyTV.
Time is an illusion. There is only the now.
So now's a good time?
Oh.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
If it's in the cinema, it's in On Screen. On Screen on MyTV. The matters of the heart are the most bothersome.
We like to explore in details what people have been through, what couples have been through, so that we can highlight some points.
Learn to love intelligently. Watch Love Talk on MyTV. Watch Focus on Europe on MyTV.
Welcome back to Finances. Life doesn't have to be bitter. What I mean is you don't need to carry this heavy burden on your own. Help is at hand. We are here to offer help to you who are suffering and acknowledge you need help. Because the truth of the matter is, not everyone who's suffering wants help. A lot of people in the planet are suffering, but very few actually acknowledge they need help. And the truth is, God can only help those who say, I'm done. Yeah. I can't do it on my own. I acknowledge I hit rock bottom, and I need help.
Because if, let's say I'm in the sea, I'm drowning, you are there on the boat. If I don't stretch out my hands to you, how are you going to say I'm going to drown? Yeah. And this is what God is waiting for, that person to stretch out his hands and says, I need your help. And if the person doesn't do that, the help will not come.
Do you believe it? You know, I was talking to someone about it. Just the other day, I was having this chat with this person. Can you believe it, Pastor Neil, that there are people who spent their entire lives suffering? They've died. And these people never, ever called upon God even once.
Because sometimes they says, I was born like this, I will remain like this, and I will die like this. There are people, they put this in their minds. And once they put it there, don't ask for help. It's like if I want to know somewhere, and I don't ask you direction, how I'm going to find. I have to ask.
Let's watch now to this life-changing story, and you will see that this person also has found the hidden treasure.
My life before, I had a lot of debts, and I would always borrow to pay one debt, but then I didn't have the means to pay back the debt that I'd borrowed from. So each time it just accumulated, and then the interest was just added on, and then it just spiraled out of hand. The worst point for me when I actually hit rock bottom was in 2012, to be honest, because I felt there was no exit now, because I had actually absorbed everything that I could possibly think of in how I can clear my debts. I just didn't see any way through that I could actually get out of this situation. The change came about when I received some advice from an advisor, a financial advisor, who actually broke it down to me how I could resolve my financial debts. And I was almost £25,000 in debt. And he said, you know, if I continued, by 2018, I would be debt-free. But then I also was receiving some spiritual advice where, in receiving this weekly, and I was also asking God for his direction, I found that, you know, in the spiritual advice that I was actually receiving, you know, and the faith of, you know, taking everything on board, you know, he showed me that you could clear your debt before 2018. If you really wanted to clear your debt, you can clear your debt. And I was so focused on the spiritual advice that I was receiving and really taking the measures that June 2016, I was debt-free. And today, I no longer have any debts. I'm happy. My bank account now is healthy. I can actually, you know, if I want to spend money, I can go out there and I can buy whatever I really need. Whereas before, it wasn't the case. Today, I can honestly say now, all my debts were cleared. I didn't have to pay any interest whatsoever. All the interest, everything has been written off. And all I did was just paid back the money that I actually borrowed. And today, I am debt-free. I can see where my money is going now today. My bank account is healthy. It's very healthy. And I'm just so happy.
Welcome back with Finances, and here with me on the sofa, we've got our tonight's guest, who is Tayo, a young man successful man indeed, but he has had a very, very sad story. But the power of faith, which is a power that transforms people's lives, appeared to him. And then obviously he seized the opportunity, made the most of it, and he's going to be sharing with us how his life has changed. Tayo, before we get into it, before we talk about the transformation of your life, tell us, as far as you can remember, what was the worst moment of your life?
I would say the worst moment of my life is, because at first, when I first came to the place of worship, I was quick in terms of when I heard words like, you shouldn't live this way, life should be, there's another life out there. I heard these words. It appealed to me straight away. And I took the necessary actions to then change. And then what happened with me is that I did change, but then after a while, I sort of fell back to what I was doing before. And this continued for a while. And it got to the point of where, because the place of faith where you go to, they talk about God. And God is perfect. And what I was doing was I was mixing what was rubbish with perfect. And it couldn't work.
Yeah.
So that was the worst moment for me, because it got to a point where I've changed, and then I'll grow, I'll move forward, and then I would just fall back to porn. I'll just fall back to masturbation, because I had let go of like marijuana around this time, but it was pornography, because
that was your biggest battle.
That was the biggest problem. So when it got to the point of where I said I was going to change, and then I found myself in this situation again, and then I went to the place of faith again, the house of worship, and I heard these words: you can't mix what is perfect with rubbish. And then that made me fight for myself. Like in that moment, I felt it wasn't nice, but it made
it was like, that's it, I had to make a decision.
Yes, and then from then on, it's like that's when I started to see the progress. That was the worst moment for me.
Mm-hmm. So today, I wouldn't say today, but how did your life change? Before, Pastor Douglas, before I hear you speak, I want to speak to the viewers something. Come close to me here. Look at me. Let me tell you something. Maybe your addiction have caused your marriage, and you lost your wife, you lost your husband. Your bad behavior, you end up losing your children. They are no longer living with you. You are going to see now, Tayo, who he is today. I'm not saying that you are a bad person. No, what I'm saying is that you lost your wife because of your addiction problem, because of your drinking, and you start to behave in an aggressive way. Maybe you shout at her or something, and you lost. I want you to understand this, that there's a new life for you. You can have a happy family. You can have a happy life, but you have to be ready to stretch out your hands for help. Do you want to help? I want you to listen now. How is his life today? And then after, you decide. If you don't do nothing, what can we do? But the opportunity is yours. How is your life today?
Okay, so I'm happy within myself, because
you're not sad anymore.
No, because what took so long, the decision that took so long to make, I've made it now. But one thing I would say is that I had to do within myself is I had to fight against who I once was before. Mm-hmm. And when I came to the house of the faith, And I said a prayer. I said this prayer. I said, I told God, I told him that I don't have the strength to change. Give me the strength to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that it wasn't just with my words that I said this, but then in that moment I received the strength to be able to do what I needed to do.
In another word, you stretch out your hands to ask for help.
Yes, 100%. And then that's when I started to see the right changes. That when I started to make the right moves, I started to undo the things that I've done that were bad. Like for example, I lied to someone. The very next day, I went to tell that person the truth, and then it started this way. And then that's when I started to see changes within myself. Then I had the strength to say no to pornography. And even now, when like I've seen people that they try to entice me with this, it doesn't really like faze me no more. There's no like desire to go back. On the other hand, I'm telling them that they need to change. That if you want help, I know someone that you can go. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is how my life is now. I've completely overcome this addiction. I'm moving forward in all the areas of my life. With my family, I'm getting closer to them. In my finances, I'm moving forward. I'm thinking of plans of the future. Attending like things to benefit me in terms of my love life. All sorts of all these.
Do you
areas.
miss the marijuana?
Not at all.
Because I want to know if he misses it, Pastor Douglas. I want to know if he really changed, because sometimes the person, no, I want to see the proof. Do you miss the marijuana?
In fact, when I walk past someone and I smell it, like it's not a pleasing smell at all.
So today you're a changed person?
Completely.
Do you miss watching porn?
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you know I'm asking this question because there is a myth out there that they say that, you know, a young man, especially if you're in your 20s, you can't do without masturbation. You can't do without, you know, having a sexual, you know, a very active sexual life, which is not true. You see, how old are you?
I'm 21.
He's 21. I mean, he's still a young man, full of energy, right?
Yeah.
Straight.
Yes,
am I right?
Of course.
Obviously, please, we are not against any sexual orientation here, but the point is, he can control himself, right? It's not that he doesn't like sex. What we are saying is that now he can control his impulses until the right person, you know, appears into his life. In other words, now he is in total control of his emotions and decision. And this is what faith does. And if you wish the same, dear viewer, the same can happen to you. We will go now to a short break. And after the break, Pastor Neil and I will be saying a powerful prayer for you who are suffering and want help. Stay tuned.
Yeah, baby. Oh yeah, oh yes, I like that.
My Top 10. Only great artists and the best singles. My Top 10 on My TV.
Climate change. Waste. Isn't it time for good news? Eco at Africa. People and projects that are changing our environment for the better.
Eco at Africa. Learn how we can make a difference on My TV. a talk show where women discuss various topics and have fun at the same time.
Oh, really?
Watch A Different Kind of Woman on MyTV.
Today, I'm exploring central Germany, and there is so much to see. That's really good.
Watch Check-In on MyTV.
Did you ladies?
Que pastores? Ready?
Sim, agora, ok.
How much time? 10 minutes?
Leah.
She's not here.
Okay, so he got 10 minutes altogether, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
So, the discussion and the prayer, okay?
Yeah. So let's go.
Yep.
Okay. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to Find the Answers. You have just heard this amazing life-changing story of Tayo. Tayo, who was hooked on pornography, gambling, and cannabis. His life was utterly destroyed. He thought he was a lost cause. He did not see a light at the end of the tunnel. He did not see any perspective, any prominent future ahead of him.
And what was interesting was that I took this, what he says. He used to spread this, that if you're not doing what I'm doing, you are missing out. Because that was all he knew. That was his world. He was in a dark world, but for him, that was the world of light. When faith was introduced to him, he recognized that what he was saying was not true. And this is what has been happening, Pastor Douglas. Many people, the life that they are living, for them, that is the world. That is the only thing. I can tell you something. If you are going through a moment where you can sleep, you are hooked on drugs, you are hooked on pornography, all these things, there is a different life. There is a life, I'm telling you. Because if Tayo found this life through faith, you can do the same. And because of that, I want to tell you right now that take an action. Take a step of faith, and you are going to see a changed life. Who knows, the next testimony we interview here will be yours. You don't know. And that's people, they have to come out of that world. And as he said to God, God, I have no strength by myself to change. Help me.
He asked for help?
For sure.
And help, obviously, came right away. And this is what we are going to do now. We want to invite you now to pray with us. Prayer is a sincere talk to our God. And when we talk to God sincerely, He does hear our prayer. And you can have this life-changing experience there where you are. You just need to speak to God sincerely and ask for His help. Let's now go to the prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Father, there are many past Taiwo out there right now. People that is hooked and drugs. They're addicted to gambling. All the salary goes in gambling. This man that lost his marriage because of his addiction. This mother, she overreacted because of the addiction problem. And the same way, my Lord, you stretch out your hands and you help Tayo. May you help this person right now that is breaking down in tears. This one that feels the urge to commit suicide because all that he knows is that life of drugs, life of pornography, life of stealing, all these, that's the life he knows. But my Lord, you can rescue him, you can rescue her. So may you stretch out your hands right now to touch this person. I pray for this family that is broken. This family, my Lord, that is disturbed, surrounded by sickness, diseases. I pray for you that you are there in the hospital. In the name of Jesus, be healed right now. I pray for you that you are behind bars. You are going through a trial time, difficult times. Receive strength. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, you that you cannot sleep, be free. You that you feel empty on the inside, receive strength. My Father, we stretch our hands towards your viewers and you minister life. Receive life, new life, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. My God, I surrender everything to your hands and I thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Now, take the right course of action. Don't just sit down and do nothing, but seek help. Give us a call. We want to help you. Our number is 020-7686-6300. Alternatively, you can send an email to help@fineanswers.tv. Okay? May God bless you abundantly. Stay safe.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.